The following program contains views that are not those of WVTC, iNetworks Communications, their subsidiaries, affiliates, or financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC Allsip Chicago, and iNetworks Communication Station.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to WVTC Radio, Chicago, the Dbarge Show. It's a wonderful day today. We miss you from last Wednesday, but we're glad to have you back today. We're going to have a very interesting show today with a very interesting young lady who I've had the opportunity to try to get acquainted with in a very short period of time before I had to bring her illuminating
God bless you.
self to this show. I met Millicent Griffin
Yes.
at Valley Kingdom Ministries International. It's a wonderful church,
Yes, it is.
and they do some wonderful work.
Yes.
And I'm working with the church
Awesome.
at this time. And we met, actually, me in the work mode, and she was in the service mode, worship mode, and it combined. We were
Yes.
both doing the same together. Millicent is a very, very gifted, talented, busy, and productive woman. Had a great opportunity to talk to her about that, but I'm going to start letting her share all the things that give me that vision and perception of you.
Oh, God bless you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So why don't you start off with us? I'm going to let you, this is your show.
Oh,
Okay?
Lord. Okay.
Yeah. He's yours too.
Oh, yes, he is.
Okay, so since you got the Lord and you got the show, and we're here to serve you, I would like for you to give us a story of your life. And we're going to do it in three parts. We're going to do it in the past, which is growing up from a little girl. We're going to go into the present right now. And then we're going to talk about your anticipation and your work
Okay.
to lead to where you're going,
Awesome. Wow.
as you know it.
As I know it, right? God's plans are so different. Well, my past, I am from the south suburbs of Chicago, born and raised, right? Harvey, and then later Chicago Heights. I was raised in a Baptist church. My grandfather, the late Reverend Jenkins, was my pastor, and actually my hero. As you see, I have him around my neck right here. See Papa?
Oh,
Yes.
man.
And so, to be honest with you, my past is filled with sitting down and listening and gleaning from my elders, whether they were in the range of my grandfather's age or my uncles, my aunts, just being around wisdom. I'm a lover of knowledge. I'm a lover of wisdom. I remember growing up and having a scrapbook of the old Jet magazines, like, you know, when Jet magazine had history moments in them or whatever, I would take them out and I would make a scrapbook of different actresses and activists and all that. So when I would have conversations with my grandparents, they would call me the militant one, because I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. We got to do this. We got to do that. My mom, in terms of my past, what leads to what I'm doing now, my mother remembers when I would play with my Barbie dolls, and my Barbie dolls had a community. I set it up as a community, and so and all of them had names, right? And in the community, you have the wise ones, right? So I had one that was similar to my grandmother. I had the pastor who was my grandfather. I had my own community set up, and they had a church. Right, so I sewed robes for my Barbie dolls, and my grandmother taught me how to sew, and so I stitched together their robes. And then we even had service, so I would put on music. The music would be the Tufts Community Singers, because my mother is now they refer to her as legendary singer, one of the lead vocals.
What was her name?
Her name is Denise Griffin -Battle. And so I would turn on the Thompson Community Singers when the choir would be singing. And when it was time to preach, I would speak through a male Dow, right? Who I would in my head put as my grandfather, but it would be with my words. So that was my church. That was the first congregation, technically, right, that I ever was using my gift in front of. And definitely just being able to play school and different things like that. And the only reason why I'm giving those highlighted moments from my past is because, to be honest with you, I am literally living out each one right now. Literally, I am a minister, and I don't take it lightly. I am a counselor by profession, and even just within my heart, I love helping people. I'm also an entrepreneur. I sell clothes as like a side passion of mine. And in regards to me just being able to help people and build that community, I do that selflessly. Like, it's like a second nature for me. And then we have the singing piece. I'm a part of the Tommy's Reunion Choir. So I'm literally able to enjoy the moments of singing with my mom and around her friends that she's known since she's been a teenager, who I lovingly refer to as aunt and uncle. So it's just I'm living that little girl's dream, and it's all for the glory of God.
Talk to me a little bit about your counseling. Do you teach school as well?
I taught. I taught for 7 years, okay. And now I'm in my 9th year with the education industry. But I taught for 7 full years, and now I'm counseling now. So, and really, I am still doing a bit of teaching, but it's more so just focused on social emotional. So now, rather than doing it while I was a teacher, academically educating my students, and then also being there for them as an aunt, another mom figure, whatever they needed, I provided, disciplinary, whatever. Now I'm just focusing on counseling, just one-on-one more so. So, I love counseling. It's what I do. And which brings me to the Real with Meal, just being able to help people from all walks of life. That's a strong desire that I have, and I find myself doing it selflessly, or should I say, I find myself doing it without doing it. It just comes up. It's natural.
It just happens.
Yes, sir. It just happens. Right. And it's amazing because I look back and I'm like, wow, that person came towards me with an attitude, but they left as a new friend. And it wasn't because I denied my stance. It wasn't because I denied my faith. It was because I literally took out the time to listen, to understand what they were saying. And I gave them God without saying it, So that I really am big on people experiencing the love of God when they experience me. I'm big on that.
I think the biggest part, and probably the most challenging part of counseling, is probably listening.
Yes.
Because we have ready-made answers, like across the counter, like McDonald's, right now for people many times. And sometimes people have that for themselves. But what happens is they don't realize that you shouldn't be concentrating on the answer. You should be concentrating on the problem.
That's correct.
Because you can get many answers and still have a problem. But if you focus on the problem and let it dictate which direction the answer should be, it's pretty common. All of us have that thing called mind. A lot of people get mixed up with brain.
That's a good one.
It was explained to me that the brain is an organ of which you utilize for thinking. It pumps blood. It controls every part of the body. And that's its job. It's the engine to the body. But they said that mind is a field of knowledge that was gifted to us by God.
Yeah.
So the field of knowledge continuously grows from the time we're born until we die.
Mm.
But the brain reaches its full function and capacity and capability really early in life. So that's something that I was told. It sounds pretty correct to me.
Well, even when you think about the mind, we don't use nearly a big chunk of it at all, or percentage of it at all. If we really did, there would be nothing that we, could not do. And, for our various reasons, we choose to focus on things that really don't matter and that are fruitless,
Right.
But I do believe if we learn how to channel that energy into more productive things that could really provide a solution, provide life, of some sort, we would be unstoppable. It's nothing that the human brain, mind, cannot do, once we really sit down and focus. But the world that we live in, everything is always, it's hard to really capture attention for a lot of people. Not for everyone,
Right.
but for a lot of people.
There's a lot of distractions.
Exactly.
What level of education right now are you employed where you counsel individuals, students?
Well, I level of education is 8th grade.
Eighth grade?
K through 8.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Wow.
K through 8. I really would love to one day counsel high school students, just because it's preparing them for adulthood a little bit more.
Right.
I love dealing with the foundation, which is K through 8. It is very foundational, and they have their own set of issues. Don't discredit that at all. I don't discredit that at all.
Mhm.
But I really love to speak to young ladies that's in that high school
Yeah,
span.
because they grow up faster and they're changing so fast.
Yes.
8th grade is like 12, 13,
14. Yeah, 13, 14.
and kids 12, between 12 and 14.
Hmm.
That is such a critical time.
It really
Yeah,
is.
and
And that
young girls
freshman
like
year is so
Oh my God.
between eighth grade and your freshman year, there's a lot that happens. And so yeah, like I said, I love foundationally, like being able to help, but I really would love to go where the meat really gets thick, because right before college, you want to know who you are. Going away to school, if a young lady does not know who she is, she's really open to be led astray when she gets around different environments and mindsets
Right.
of different individuals.
And then the kind of influence and realities that come into that classroom at that age, where those children become attached to other ones that they might not even know.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many experience levels. And I learned that. I've done a few things in the public schools, like Brown
Okay.
Elementary School, junior high school
Mm-hmm.
on the west side by where the Chicago Bulls Stadium is.
Okay.
I've
Mhm.
been in there.
Yeah.
And been teacher for the day. Been at a couple of schools, and that's an experience,
Oh yeah.
because even though you're new to them, they have their regular staff. I don't like it. What is he gonna do? So I just take my wife with me,
Mm-hmm.
and when I always dress up, I put on my best suits.
Yeah.
And the first thing that I do when I go in is, because they're gonna want to know what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a photographer, so I share with them. I bring a nice big portfolio book and maybe a couple of large prints of people that they know, celebrities, athletes, whatever.
Mhm.
And I'll put it in the corner. And I remember when I went to Brown Elementary School the first time, I had almost a fight with the principal over the phone. Hadn't even met her yet,
Wow.
because one of the teachers wanted me to come, but she says, I would like for you to come, but the administration's not gonna let you come. I said,
Hmm.
why not? I know that school was in trouble. They got some serious things going on over there. She said, because it's too dangerous.
Wow.
I said, what do you mean dangerous? She said, we tried our best every day, just try to make sure that none of the children get killed. Because they come to school real dangerous,
Hmm.
14 years old. So I'm like, well, I want to go where the danger is. So they says, I don't think we can do it, Mr. Barge. I'll talk to my principal. So she talked to the principal, and the principal called me to tell me no. And you know what it hinged on? This is crazy. She said, Mr. Barge, out of all the other reasons that I don't want you to come, and I appreciate you wanting to do something to help our children, but the reason why I don't want you to come is because we don't have insurance for you.
Wow.
I said, I'll tell you what. I said, I've got my own insurance, and whatever that won't insure, I'll take the risk for the rest of it.
Wow.
I want to come.
And this is Brown Elementary?
Brown Elementary School. It's
Wow.
right over by Chicago, where the Chicago Stadium
Mhm.
is. So she said, well, you're so persistent. Okay. All right. When do you want to come? And I told her. So that day we went over, we dressed up, we did our thing.
Mhm.
And everything that the teacher had told me was true. It was like a circus in there. It was crazy. The classroom was about 30 students. So when I went in, the first thing I just looked at them. It's like, man, it's a zoo.
Wow.
So then I went and got a table. I asked for a little table like this, and I pulled the table over. I got 2 chairs for Pam and I to sit down. I got my little posters and put them up. And as the students were talking, then the bell rang.
Mhm.
Then they came in. I said, okay, no one sit down. I don't want any of you to sit down. Stay on your feet.
Mhm.
They looked at me like, what's down? I said, now, I grabbed a chair and I took a chair. I was going to rearrange the seating in the classroom to auditorium style.
Mhm.
As opposed to have it, the rows like this, I made it semicircles.
Okay.
So I did 3 of them. The class was big enough. I did a big circle in the front, then a semicircle
What
behind
was the
them.
ages again?
It was like 12 to 14.
Okay, so older.
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
So I said, I need some of you to help me to do this. So they saw what I was doing. So they started helping me.
Mhm.
So once I got to that point where you're not watching me, but you're helping me, I know we're going to be all right.
Mhm.
So they helped me. We got it all set up. I said, now you can have a seat. So they sat down. So they started looking at the pictures. So I introduced myself, told them who I was, what I do. And they were looking at the pictures. I said, does anybody know any of these people? Oh, there's Michael Jordan. There's Scottie Pippen. They started naming off people. I said, yeah. I said, I took their pictures. Oh, really? Now they're all, because the stadium's right across the street.
Right.
You know where they are. And once we got their attention and they became orderly by virtue of the fact that I was getting their attention.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't realize what was happening and I was watching it.
Yeah.
So I told them a little bit about us, our background, what we do. We finished with that part. And when we did, I took my portfolio, folded up, and I put it all the way over on the side desk. I said, I came here today to listen to what you have to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you all to be the teacher and I'm the visiting student.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know what to do. So I said, let's start it off. I want to ask you about subject matter. I want us to talk and have a conversation today, but I want you to tell me what's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
So a little girl raised her hand. Little boy raised his hand. She said, I want to talk about drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk about drugs. Anybody know anything about drugs here? Yeah, crack. They didn't mean to let it slip out.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to tell me some things that's happening right at their house, right in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And then one little girl raised her hand and she had been raped.
Wow.
So, this was really serious.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm in the position to be a receiver, first to be a giver.
Yeah.
And we got the teacher who's, with her master's degree, she's sitting in the back at her desk and she's frozen like a popsicle.
Mm-hmm.
About 15, 20 minutes later, the principal comes in. The assistant principal comes in because they can't figure out from their office down the hall why this classroom is so quiet, because it's usually a zoo in a jungle, but it's not. It's a palace of peace because that's what we brought.
Because someone's taking interest in them.
When I left that school, the teacher asked, how many of you want Mr. and Mrs. Barge to come back? It sounded like Michael Jordan just won the championship.
Oh,
They were jumping all over the place.
That's
Now,
great.
how could I not want to do that?
That's
How
great.
could I accept the defeat that Satan has already set up for us, that you can't handle these children.
Right.
The principal called me into her office and she said, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Where have you taught before?" I said, "I learn everywhere I go and I teach what I learn."
Love it.
She says, "Well, do you have your PhD?" I said, "I work powerfully hard and disciplined."
I know she probably was like, "Good day, sir. Come
That's what
on, like,
I'm
you cut me a break." I know she probably was thinking that.
I don't know. I was at that point, I was just ready for it. I guess my juices were.
You were, yeah.
But bottom line, I just gave that little piece to let you know that there's a bridge between us. There's similarity.
Yes,
You love children
Yes, I do.
and you love the Lord.
Yes, I do.
I do too.
Yes.
So I wanted to say that part,
Mhm.
but it's about this this counseling level. You have an opportunity that teachers don't have. Those teachers many times are trying to make the kids be good,
Mhm.
and they're trying to deliver this thing called education to them and make sure they get it.
Right.
But they can't deal with their problems.
Mhm.
They can't deal with the vicissitudes of life that they have no choice but they have to deal with.
Well, let's say this, teachers, anyone can do whatever they put their mind to do. Okay. As I was teaching, I received a complaint actually because of a young lady in my classroom. Her aunt had some thoughts about the young lady confiding in me and me helping her, and so she went to my principal. I will never forget this. She went to my principal and she complained and said, "I need her to be more of a teacher and not a counselor." Right. And I laughed at it because it's not that her student was failing. It's just that sometimes people feel away if you're becoming more trusted than they are. And I looked at my principal and I was like, "Are you serious?" And she told me, she said, "Miss Griffin, I told you that you were going to get problems from young ladies because they, at the time, this was about 6-7 years ago. No. Yeah. It was like my second year of teaching."
Mhm.
And so.
And what age was that grade?
4th grade.
Okay.
And so I'm just being mean, it's like the student was having some issues. Her mother was locked up, she needed someone to be there for her. And me being who I am, I'm her teacher, but I spoke to the gentleman that was working in the classroom with me at the time. And I was like, can we put some money together and just at least get her some gifts? Because no child should not have any gifts at Christmas. Like, that's not a part of being a teacher.
Right.
Teachers, many teachers wear many different hats in our students' lives. We really do. And we're not always patted on the back for it, but you don't do it to be recognized. You do it because it's in your heart to do it. So it's like God seen it. Hey, he knows my heart. He sees what I'm doing. And that's honestly all that matters. I don't have to take a picture of it and, put it over social media with this age of social media that we're in right now. Just do good because It's good to be good. Right. I think that's what a lot of us do. And we're like the unheard ones, people don't really know about us.
Right.
Until you have a personal interaction and then you're able to see it. But yeah, my students, they call me Mama Bear. That's what they call me.
That's an affectionate term.
For our Mama Bear. As I'm a counselor, they call me Auntie Millie, because that's me. I love, that's just what I do. And I don't make them do this, it's like, look, you're comfortable calling me that, you're comfortable. If you're not, I'm Miss Griffin. That's fine. As long as you know that I'm here for you and I'm rocking with you every step of the way,
Right.
And so that's honestly my truth. I actually did my practicum experience at an alternative school, and the school was titled a CPS safe school. So the students that were removed from CPS went to this school.
What does the safe part mean?
I'm not sure
But they were trouble students?
Yes, every student there had, well, let me say 90% of the students there had a probation officer.
Okay.
For different choices that they made. And I had the elementary side, actually. And one of those students to this day, I'm as a godmother to her. She calls me mom, but I'm as a godmother to her. But she'll tell you, like, man, I love her, and that's because I was at the time I was a teacher's assistant, and then I did my practicum experience. I was a teacher, her teacher, for a limited amount of time. But if she needed something for her hair, if I was getting me a donut, it's like, what do you want, baby? Like, and so she's been around my family. I've been around her family. She calls my daughter her little sister, and again, people can feel when it's real. They can feel it when it's real, and they will turn away from you when they feel as if like you're just trying to exploit them, or not really, if it's just a check. Put it to you like that.
Yeah, and that's what it is for most people.
For some people, there is just a check, and I had a principal tell me before, if you can get a kid to like you, it's nothing that they won't do for you.
That's true.
And that is true.
And the job will mean more than the check, the great benefits, and 3 months off every year. I think, like, from your perspective, you were a mommy when you started this. I mean, when you started counseling and teaching, you were a mommy.
Yes.
So mommy is first. Mommy is always the best title for teacher. If you're mothering a child, then you're nurturing them.
Yes.
You're not just teaching them. And they're not just learning ABCs and the right English and dialogue and social studies.
You really care.
What you're really teaching them is the care, right? That's what happens. So I'm sure you're probably so rewarded when some of these children grow up and they never lose that emotional and spiritual attachment that they have with you as a mommy, even though you're not their mother.
Correct.
You are a mommy.
And or auntie, right? Like, because I never, you only get one mother, so it's like, and I have godmothers, whatever, but I have one mama. And I don't care if I was really close to my grandmothers, and even closer with her mother, my mother's mother. But still, you only get one mama, and I tell my students that, look, I'll be auntie, because they get so close to you and they want to hug on you, they want to get to know you,
right.
And it's just like, hold up, then they talk to you now because I'm a counselor. They confide knowingly. Versus as being a teacher, you got to dig a little bit more. As a counselor, they know to come to you and talk to you about it. So I always tell them, like, don't be so hard on your mom. Everyone has a road. You don't.
Right.
We make decisions in different places in life. So be a little understanding with your mom. Like, I'm that voice. So I be very, very careful to let them know you have one mother. You love, you respect her. You try to understand her. Above all, you respect her. And love her unconditionally, and I'll be auntie. I tell moms that too. Like, I'm not trying to take your place, mom. I'll be your auntie. So
I like that.
Yeah.
And that establishes a great relationship with them. Then it becomes a team.
Correct.
The mom and the auntie in the classroom.
Village. It's a village.
Village.
Yes, sir.
I want to move to another area because you've got so much going on. It's like, I don't even know how we're going to do this.
Oh, my word.
Show,
no.
But I have to say something.
Oh.
But let's talk about minister.
Yes, sir.
You, Millicent. The minister, Millicent Griffin.
Yes, that's me.
Talk about your ministry.
Well, I mean, look, I live it, and when I say I live it, it's not, of course, perfection. Perfect doesn't exist. However, one that is really living to please God does. And that's my road that I'm on for now and forever until he calls me with him. I am, I'm constantly asking God, make me better. Show me. How can there's a book in the Bible, and I believe it's Esther, where you can see God's hand, but you never read his name in there, and that's how I want my life to be. Now, if you know me personally, in one or two of our conversations, I'm going to mention something about the Bible and connect it to a story or something. I'm going to mention God somewhere. But when you're working in an arena where you can't mention his name, because of church and school and all this different things I'm doing. So it's like, show them me without saying me. And that's how I carry the ministry with preaching, with teaching and all of that. I show the world God in many ways without saying God.
I got you.
Yes.
Or Jesus.
Or Jesus. Yeah. And that's just by me.
Esther.
It's Esther. It's Esther.
Esther.
You got me.
Isn't that one of the shortest books in the Bible?
It is.
It's a demonstration of revelation and power.
Yeah.
Without having all those words.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people, I noticed that when people meet people, if you're impressed by someone, people will go, I wonder what they do. Like, for instance, if you drove down the street and you stopped into a Walgreens and you got out of the car out of a white Corniche Rolls Royce, brand new.
It sounds nice.
That's probably going to happen. I'm speaking something. But let's say you get out the car. The people who see you, the first thing they're going to wonder is, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Not who are you?
Yeah, what do they do?
Because who I am has nothing to do with what I'm writing.
Correct.
It might not even be mine.
Right. Exactly.
Maybe the people I work for.
Right.
So the way that people think, I found out, is, first of all, they look at you. What do you do? They look at what you have. What do you do? And who are you is last. And the who are you is the most important.
It really is.
Because you're not the Rolls Royce. You're not anything that they could think that you are. You are a physical representation of who you really are. And the physical representation is not who you are.
Yes, sir.
It's just a representation. So it's always like they say who, what, when, where, how, and why is the way you do the W's. But I try to see a person for who they are. And that takes time to find out who a person is.
Definitely.
You can know them for 10 years and you still don't know who they are. You know them physically, but what's going on in the spirit and the mind, and how does that work? And what does that have to do in our environment with our connection? So,
but going back, I love being a minister.
Go ahead.
I love it. No, I'm just going to that because that's where you took me. And I probably drifted off being a minister, talking and stuff. But I love.
I think the church loves that in you too. I saw what happened last Sunday.
I love being a woman of God. I really do, because, I'm being used for Him. And I'm literally living my dream. I have a vision board that I created. And it's only about 1 or 2 things that have not occurred. I mean, I'm talking about from the even materialistic things. It's like check, check, check. And serving God is one of them, and maybe it's because my hero, was the pastor that honestly lived Christ
in front of your
all
face.
Day. Right. I lived with them at a point in time. So I seen behind, closed doors as well as in the pulpit. And he was always the same way. Not big car, not big house, money and all that. That doesn't impress me. What impressed me is a person's integrity and their character. What do they stand for? And so, yeah. And my mother's also a woman of God. My stepfather is. My older sister is a woman of God. So I've been like saturated around the word my whole life. But I love sitting around with my older cousins that are men of God that preach. And it's like, all right, come on, let's have preacher talk. Yeah. And then we open up, and I'm like, oh, this is a good one. And, we just start talking. That it's like, it's not a sport, like I don't take it seriously, but it's a passion.
It almost is.
Yeah, it's a passion.
You love sports. Let's talk about that for a second. Okay, so you are a woman that loves for God to use you.
Yes.
I saw that. I can understand that. But also, you love to use God. It's a relationship.
It is.
You use Him so good that it feels good for you being used by Him. So in a relationship, we're using each other.
Yeah.
So I'm very impressed with what I feel and what I see.
Awesome.
And it's not, some people are like, for show. This is not a show.
No.
This is reality. Because when the face is gone, that work and that spirit's still going to be there, and it's going to be continuous,
Yes, sir.
continuous, and it's working. I don't want to get you off of this show without covering all
Yeah.
that I got to cover down here, because and all of it's in you. We talked about counselor.
Mhm.
We talked about minister. Now the minister is going to be the one that carries all of these.
Mhm.
It's going to be the predominant one. But I want to talk about the other side of you, the entrepreneur.
Yes. All right.
Tell me about the entrepreneur.
So, as I stated, with the store that I have, the boutique, that's connected to my undergrad degree, which is
And what kind of boutique?
it is a clothing store for women.
Okay.
Mhm.
And where is it located?
Well, now it's just located via the web,
Okay.
on
They
social
can buy
media
online.
platforms.
You'll have to
Mhm.
give us that information for our listening audience.
Yes,
so that
sir.
they can go see.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Savvy 24 Boutique. It can be found on Facebook and on Instagram, Moxie Savvy 24. That's what is there as or whatever. So again, MOXIE
Mhm.
Savvy SAVVY 24
Okay.
on Instagram. And so I do that when something is in you, you do it naturally.
Mhm.
So the clothing is another gate for that. Again, connecting to my undergrad degree, which is fashion merchandise and design. I absolutely love fashion. I love fashion.
I could tell.
And then when I became a mother, my senior year of college, that's what birthed the educator in me. That's when I switched to education. So yeah, all that's in there connects to ministry. We already talked about that. No need to revisit.
That's okay.
And then there's a vlogger inside of me. I am a vlogger, and I'm very, very passionate about that because the ministry is carrying that as well. And that is called The Real with Meal. And that can be seen on YouTube at The Real with Meal, no spaces, and also via Facebook, socially or whatever. I'm also on Instagram as well, The Real with Meal. And I discuss.
Explain that.
Mhm.
It's got a great title. It was catchy.
Yeah, The Real with Meal. Okay. And one of my buddies from college and grammar school, he and I came up with that, with The Real with Meal, because he said my personality is like I'm transparent and like you keep it real. So it's like The Real with Meal,
Okay.
Yeah. So we talk about topics that people usually avoid, like the elephant in the room. And so we like to, go there. And it's not just my view. So I have people on there that see things in a different way. Just again, being open to always remain a learner. I'm a lover of knowledge, so if you can teach me something, you really have my attention because my brain is constantly like, man, that's cool. Or God, oh, thank you for changing me, because I'm not perfect. So now I know a new way to do something,
Mhm.
I'm a lover of knowledge. So with that being stated, we look at the whole coin. It's like, let's look at every side. And if it makes you say, ouch, then it makes you say, ouch. If it, affirms your position, then it affirms your position. But it's worth discussing.
Mhm.
And so that's what The Real with Meal does. So it is connected definitely to God because, I'm God's daughter. That's what I call myself, God's daughter of Chicago. But so it is definitely connected to God, but it's not just a church.
Right.
It's not even connected to a church.
Right.
It's just The Real with Meal. So it's connected to God, the church, but it's just The Real with Meal, and we talk about some everything. Yeah, I love it.
That would be interesting if human beings that ascribe and aspire to what we aspire to
Mm-hmm.
would try, and I just thought about this while you were talking and looking at you as an example. Have a contest with God and see if you can use him more than he uses you. You know why I said that? We came up with this song in altar call time called "You Can't Beat God." No, the offering lifting call. Because I used to be a part of the finance in the church.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "You can't beat God giving."
No matter
Remember
how
that song? No matter how hard you try.
Mm-hmm.
So try. If you know you can't, keep trying as if you can, and then see how much he uses you. Because the more we use him, the more he uses us.
Use us. I see where you're going.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you ever gonna outdo.
Right, because we know
outdo
you can't.
him.
Yeah.
But who else can you outdo? There's people out there, people in here, but if it's basically just making you put your foot on the gas and don't let up.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. That was an interesting thought. Anyway, I had to share that with you.
Yeah.
So the entrepreneurship started. When did it really take its resounding resonance in you that you figured it out?
Well, I want to say February 27th of 2020. Yeah, that was 2020. I literally, no, it was 21 actually. It was February 27, 21 is when the Real With Meal was birthed.
Okay.
I had already been selling the clothing, and again, it's fun for me, but I'm more passionate about the Real With Meal because it's ministry in a way. And so that's when I did like the first show, and it was just like, whoa. I believe the first show was on it's okay not to be okay. And I actually that idea was birthed from a song that I did with my old school.
Okay.
My principal and another co-worker of mine wrote the song, and the whole staff produced the song. It's okay not to be okay. And so the segment was on the song, and I analyzed the meaning, and to see how many people were touched by it, even if it was just like one or two, honestly, it would have made my night. But it continued to like be shared and to grow. And I'm like, whoa, God, I'm being used like this, and so that's when it was just like, okay, you can't stop because it's helping people. And that just really motivated me to keep doing it.
Okay. So you're a minister in music. So
yeah, I love music.
Are you a lead singer? Are you a background singer? Are you both?
I'm both. I've mastered background, right? Okay. My whole life, I love background. I do background. Yeah.
What is it? Let me ask you, what is it that you like? Because I heard a bell ring, and believe me, we're on the same page.
Okay.
What is it that you like particularly about singing in the background with other people?
Honestly, the vibe, the being able to be synchronized with the music a little bit more. Because in my head, in my heart, I'm a musician. Like it's a joke amongst like my loved ones, but in my I play every instrument in my head, right? And I literally
comes out through your mouth.
Yeah, but like seriously, if you put on a song now that I really like, you'll see me doing this. Like this is a keyboard. It's funny, but anyway, I love music. Like I am in love with music. So I don't know if it's because my mom was singing while she was carrying me. My
same thing.
Yeah, my father was a choir director. My mother a singer. Even my father was a preacher. So
same thing.
You see, so preaching and singing and all of that. Wow. If you want to get Millie, interested, it's like boom, you want to lit a fire, and it's just something about it, So music, I love music. I've been raised around musicians and athletes and ministers my whole life. So I love all of it,
You know what I love about, and I'm gonna share with you what I love about singing background.
Okay.
I love background because of harmony.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of times the way songs are arranged and the way we arrange them, some of the background is harmonious, and some of it's in unison.
Yeah.
So we may go to unison to get to the peak and break off in harmony at the top. And it's like the whole concept and reality of people giving what they have to be in, I don't want to say the word harmony again, because I'm thinking of the physical sound of the tune, but to be in perfect, it's almost hard not to say harmony.
Like harmony, frequency, energy.
The frequency, that's what I'm trying to say. So you're combined on that. It's not about me and it's not about you. It's totally about
one band,
us.
one sound. Yeah.
And we win together.
Yes.
That's the thing I love about that. Now, when you called out and you have to take the mic and do your solo thing and you got the choir behind you, then it's time for you to tell a story.
Yeah.
And they the amen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so music is something that we could, I don't even want to get started on that because this show will be going for the third reel.
You'll be putting me out. You and Miss Pam will be telling me to go home.
We'll be eating dinner still talking about music.
But no, but so to answer your question completely and short, it'll be a short, promise.
Okay.
I've been doing background my whole life until just recently. I'm actually featured on the next album for the Tommy's Reunion Choir. I'm on there with one of my big brothers. He and I are leading a song with the Tommy's Reunion Choir, and that alone sounds so weird coming out of my mouth because my mom has sung with them like her whole life.
I'm gonna ask you about that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about your mom in a minute.
So to be singing with a choir that you grew up and singing around people that you grew up literally like from the womb, looking at and lovingly, affectionately knowing as, like I said, uncles or a godfather, or I mean, the choir is full of, or just Mr. or aunts, whatever, you know. I refer to people as Mr. or aunt. That's just, you know, what I do. But so anyway, and so it's a dream come true. Also, I can't even say it's a dream come true because it's something that I never thought would happen. Because it's like, me? You want me to sing?
We want to come hear you sing. You let me know when it's going to take place? Okay. So I'm bringing some people with me. The other thing that I want to do is I want to ask you about Miss Denise Griffin Bath.
Yes.
Let me ask you something about her. Now, when did your mom sing with the Tommies? Because I was living in California and I moved here and I didn't find out about them until 1989.
Oh, okay. Well, she's been with them since she was 17.
Okay.
So that was a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there was the keyboard player, also one of the main vocalists.
Yes, Pastor Darius Brooks. Yes, that's my uncle. I call him Uncle Darius. He told me.
You tell him
call me Uncle.
Tell your Uncle Darius that you were with Dbarge, the photographer. When you leave here, call him on your cell phone.
I sure will.
And I tell you this, the keyboard player, the piano player, the organ player, Billy Shines. Does that strike a bell? Ask your mother about Billy Shines.
I'll ask my mother about, I was going to say, you mean Uncle Percy Beatty?
Ask him about Billy Shines.
Okay.
Billy Shines. Okay. That's my first cousin.
Billy Shines.
He played the organ and the piano and sang. He had a Donny Hathaway voice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you weren't in it then. But your mom,
my mom will know.
She's going to remember, and that connects us.
Yes.
So when I moved here in 1989, I heard about the Tommies, and he was singing, but he died 3 years after that.
The song God's Got It, Making a Way. That's my mommy. The Crown of Life. That's my mommy. Yes.
I'm gonna have to meet her, you know.
Yes, and I can tell you
I got somebody else who wants to meet her too.
Awesome. My mother's a real woman of God. She's a real woman of God. My mother loves God. She loves pleasing God. And so, yeah.
That's not hard to believe.
Yeah. When I remember being in college and I would put on, I was having a hard time in the class. I would play those videos of like her singing, because that's when VHS was still, you know, and I had a VCR in my room. And I would put the song going, and I used to be like typing, and the tears would just be going. So it's like it's again, I'm living in a world right now where it's like, wow, they used to encourage me, and now because my favorite song is by Pastor Brooks sings it, and with the Tommies, and Lord I Believe. You know, that's my favorite one. So I would play these songs, and then don't get it twisted. I have background with singing since 15 with New Direction.
Okay.
Under the leadership of Gerald Gray, who is my godfather.
Man,
Gerald Gray is I know, right? No, but Gerald Gray, that's and Uncle Percy Gray, right? The two Percys, right? You got Beatty, then you got Gray, but Uncle Percy is the man, you know. So their experiences they allowed me to have carried me through teenage years and college years, but definitely listening to my mother sing carried me through some of my toughest nights. when I was away from home. So
Have you heard of a school of music? It's not there it was in Oak Park called the Dorland School of Music
no.
in Oak Park.
No.
It's right off of Austin, between Austin and Harlem. In 1992, Darius Brooks and the Tommies did a live recording in the studio. It must have been 250 people. Walter Hawkins, all the gospel artists that you can think of was there. Bobby Jones came.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Wow.
And he'll remember that. He has the pictures. You know, I was photographer for him.
I was a little girl then. I was like 7.
But your mom was singing with them then.
I know she was.
And so if I could get a hold of one of those pictures, I bet you I would find, because I shot everything up.
Oh,
So
yeah.
It's
And I
amazing.
look just like her.
Okay.
She probably had like reddish hair or something.
Mhm.
But I look just like my mom.
That was in. it
I'm
was in
named after her,
1992.
actually.
Really?
Millicent Denise.
Wow.
Yeah, Millicent Denise.
amazing.
I'm named after her.
You know what? I'm not sure. This is starting to get really good, and I don't know if I swallowed up all of our time or not.
Well, I don't know. I
don't
probably
know.
did.
I think we're good, so I'm gonna let you keep talking.
No.
Um,
I don't want to keep talking.
You're good at it. This is what you do.
This is what I do, but I don't want to keep talking. I'm trying to watch myself.
Okay, don't talk.
Okay.
You can just sit there. Now watch this. Now watch this. I'm looking at this counselor in you.
Mhm.
I've heard about the music. I can't wait to hear you sing. And you showed us the entrepreneur,
Mhm.
but the minister is in all of them.
Yes, sir.
Your ministry shines as an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
It shines as a vocalist. It shines as a counselor. So I put the minister on top
Mhm.
because that means service,
Yes.
and you're serving.
Mhm.
So we want to be able to access you in terms of some of the things that you do. Your shopping online, your
Mhm.
website that you gave.
Yes.
We want the people to know that you're there
Mhm.
and patronize you.
Awesome.
Spend some
God.
money with Millicent,
Yes.
and
Yes.
she's going to give you the information again.
Yes, I
How
shall.
you can spend some money and get superior quality products from a woman of God. Let's
Yes.
talk about it.
Awesome.
What's the name of your place, and where is it located? Where can they buy? And
Mhm. If you are interested in purchasing with me, you can purchase at Savvy 24 Boutique, Facebook. I am very, very good with customer service, so I will contact you within 24 hours. And it is my pleasure to make sure that you're satisfied. So you can reach me there. If you are a lover of IG or Instagram, it's Moxie Savvy 24. That's MOXIESAVVY 24. And the same rules apply. We will contact you within the 24 hour span. If you are interested in the counselor minister side of me, please go to YouTube, The Real with Mill, MILL. We are talking about all kinds of topics, and one day I'm going to have a lovely segment with even you. I can't wait, because this is amazing right now, and I would love to have you on as a guest. I really would.
I would love to be on.
So I'm have a lot of great things headed my way for 2023 with The Real with Mill. So please go onto YouTube and subscribe, as well as Facebook. We're featured on there as well. The Real with Mill. You won't be what is that word? Disappointed. You won't be disappointed. You would definitely be encouraged.
And they can use all of their credit cards, right?
Yes, going back to Savvy 24. Yes,
Yeah.
All forms of payment are accepted. Credit cards. We're kind of moving away from the check industry of the world, but yes, even if you would prefer Cash App or Zelle or whatever. Again, I already said PayPal, but yes, credit cards are accepted, and the shipping is $8 flat fee.
Oh,
So that's another thing. So if you live in the Chicagoland area, you and I could even meet. You won't even have to pay for shipping. So again, we're all about customer service.
Just in case the pastor gets an opportunity to see this show,
Yes.
can you please pronounce the name of your church?
Yes, the name of my church is Valley Kingdom Ministries International, under the leadership of Pastor Ray Beatty. That's my pastor. And my first lady, Shalon Beatty, Mrs. Shalon Beatty. And we are under the leadership still of Apostle Daniel H. Wilson. And the senior pastor again is Pastor Ray Beatty. It is a wonderful church. Please come visit if you are in the Chicago area. You will not be disappointed. I'm telling you, every day, every time I leave on Sunday, I'm leaving out. When Mr. Dbarge met me, tears, my face is just like he said, I was in service. I wasn't thinking that I was going to be blessed enough to even get a photography picture, but I was. But you will not be disappointed. Worship is amazing, and you are really going to leave better than you came. So come and visit us at Valley Kingdom Ministries International. Sundays at 10 a.m. Yes.
10 a.m.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming and appearing in such a short notice. But sometimes that's the way it works. You can't look long term and down the road too far because there's so much in front of us sometimes that needs to be addressed. And I'm glad that you had the time, or I should say, made the time in your busy schedule to come be with us.
I'm very grateful to you. Thank you.
And we're more than happy to do anything we can do to help you in your rise with what you're doing.
Thank you.
I would love to be on your show or whatever.
Yay. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Just continue. We got other things to do.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to WVTC Radio today, the Dbarge Show. And we look forward to next week at 6 o'clock on Wednesday, as usual, for you to tune in and be a part of us. Have a great week. May God bless you and keep you strong. Do the right thing, and let's meet again. Good night.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC.